So welcome to Python tutorial, and in this module we are just going to introduce ourselves to Python and understand some basic syntax, statement and commands in Python. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. Right before I start, I have a outline already made for this course that is going to help us to know where we are, how far we are going, and what's next to do. So let's just go ahead and let me open this folder. I think I keep it somewhere if I could remember. Okay, that's it. So right in front of me, what I actually have here is the outline for the Python tutorial, and you can see from here I have the part one. Then these have some lot of topics under it, and then from here I have the part two, which is very small, and the part three, which actually talks about the database management with Python using MySQL. That really looks nice to me, so we just go ahead and dive right in without wasting much of time. So we talk about comments first, talk about variable, we talk about data types, numbers, casting, strings, and all. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm talking too much. Okay, so to get started with, I'm just going to create a folder on my desktop, and I'm going to name it Python. So this is just the folder that is going to contain all the codes that we are going to be using for this Python course. So the first module talks about comments in Python. We just open this folder up with a Visual Studio Code. I should have that one. For some reason I'm not able to open this folder with a Visual Studio Code. Okay, I can just open my command line. I will actually definitely do it from the command line. So code Python. So that's going to open the Visual Studio Code for me. Alright, so when you open the Visual Studio Code, you should see a welcome message like this that actually asks you to start a new file, recent, GUI, and other customized stuff like that. So you can just play around with it to actually get familiar with these to really make sense. But for me, I'm just going to skip this. Like, I'm just going to close it. So if you look at this bar, right at this bar, I have some information. This is actually my Explorer. This is actually where I can search. And this is actually meant for some extent. Sorry, some C++ error there. So this is actually some kind of also extensions. Can download extensions to support more functionalities to Visual Studio Code and all. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Another thing Visual Studio Code have is terminal. If you're probably you are using Windows, you should be able to have access to your terminal by going to terminal, then open your terminal, then your terminal should right here. Windows is actually using PowerShell. So PowerShell, if I can type, Windows is using PowerShell, and I'm using Linux, so definitely I'm going to be using Bash. So there are some syntax that might or might not be working for you if you're actually using command line together, but I'm going to make it easy in a way that people that are using Windows and me that I'm using Linux will be able to work it out. So the first thing here, if you're looking at here, so this is my folder, this is the name of the folder there, Python. If I put the mouse on it, you can see I have a button that I can add a new file, or I can create a folder inside it. I can refresh it, so like that. So let's just go ahead and create a folder. So the first folder we are going to create is called comments.py. So comments.python, like that. I've actually downloaded or let me say I already have an extension that helps me to actually go ahead and do more functions while writing Python with Visual Studio Code. So you can just go ahead. I think this is the name of the extension, the Python Microsoft MS Python.py. So if you definitely search it from here by just typing Python like that, so you should be able to get the extension. It's actually going to consume your data, maybe 5 megabyte, 10 megabytes. It should be okay and alright to get started with. Alright, so right here, let's just go ahead and start with Python. So Python is a programming language, is even a high level programming language, as is very common among web developers, and is a very powerful programming language that you are going to really love, because Python is an high level programming language that you can actually write in normal English that we speak to each other, so we understand what we are writing in human readable form rather than just writing an assembly language. So and Python can actually be used for anything that concerns with computers, so from a basic system to web development, from web development to game development, to anything that you want to use it for. So at first, the first line in every Python program that you're going to see is actually called the shebang line. So it's actually proceed with the hash here, then followed by the not sign. Actually call it the not sign, but people call it the exclamation sign. So for programmer, I think not should be able to understand them. These actually going to, let me just zoom this a bit. All right, that's nice. So this actually proceed with the location of your interpreter. So Python is an interpreted programming language. It's not a compiled programming language like C++. What I'm saying is Python actually have an interpreter that interpret everything that you write in English into binary form. So and it's really handles the garbage by itself. It doesn't give you the freedom to handle the garbage, so it's collect the garbage, then say okay, these are garbage in a code, and just dump it, rather than a compiled programming language that you have a lot of power to, lot of things to do concerning your memories and handling of garbage. I'm talking too much. So since I am working with I'm actually working with bash right here. So if you are working on Windows, I believe you might and might not need the shebang line, but just have it in mind to put the shebang line. I think it's spelled like the shebang line, yeah, like that. So if you're actually working on Windows, you can also add it into your code. So if you fortunately your code actually being exported to a Linux machine or any other kind of operating system, it can work very well. So what I did here is that on my system, this is the location I install my own Python 3. So this is the location where I'll be running Python 3 from, and if I didn't put this on my system, it's not going to work. So the code, any code I actually write, is not going to really work until I actually probably type or something like Python 3, then the name of my program right here, so you know what is going on with that. Let me just clear this up. Alright, so that is there about that. So the first thing is talk about comment. So looking at this syntax, it's actually resemble comment in Python, but this is really doing something. So let's talk about the real comment. So comment actually proceed with the hashtag, and you can say okay, this sorry, what's that? This is my first program. So I could really make this make sense, like say my first Python program, like that. So this is actually saying this is my first Python program. So this is nothing but a comment in Python programming language. So this lets you know comment is actually not doing anything, because the interpreter is not going to interpret any comment as a code, except this that proceeded with the exclamation sign or the not sign. This is just ordinary comments, just a ordinary text that lets the programmer knows that okay, this part of the code is what I'm doing. Then you can have it in the multi-line form, like this is another comment, so you get the idea of what I'm saying now. So this and also there is another syntax for having comments. You can actually use the triple what's called the triple quotes, like that. So this is 1 2 3 1 2 3 on this side. So you can say okay, this is so you can say this is another comment. All these is actually going to just be an ordinary comment in your code there. Python is not going to do anything to it than just leave it for you to be able to read your code, or maybe another programmer wants to actually do something on your code, you'll be able to know what you are doing at that particular moment. And that's all about comments. So let's just go ahead and play around with some kind of Python, saying hello world to ourselves, and that's all. So so far so good. We have learned about comments. Let's just go ahead and do something with this. So I can just say, okay, right on the line 13 right here. So on this line 13, the what I want to put there is just I want to print hello world. So I can just say, okay, print hello world. So that's actually what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to print hello world out to my users or to anybody that is using my program. And in Python programming language, you can actually use the print statement. So the print there followed by the parentheses. So this is parentheses. In computer science, this is not brackets. In mathematics, this is actually brackets. In computer science, this is a parentheses, then followed by the string. So you don't worry if you don't understand it by now, so just look at it hello world like that, and you get the idea of what is going on. So if you're actually running on Windows and you install Python probably the way I've given the instruction to actually install it, you'll be able to use something called py, then followed by the name of your program, comments.python. Then you'll be able to just click it up and it's going to work. So for me, because I'm using Linux, so this is saying the command is not found. Probably maybe I should install Python py, which is actually not true in my case. I don't need to install that. So for me, the syntax is actually Python 3 comments.py, and that's it. Boom. So you are going to realize that this is the only line in my code that gets executed just when I print hello world. The rest of them are actually nothing but comment. All right, thank you. Pure1 disease. With this, we're going to see you in the next tutorial.